Welcome to Simply Bitcoin, the channel that breaks down all the daily Bitcoin news from Twitter, the daily fail, the meme review, software releases, and the websites by plebes. Drop us a like and subscribe. All right, we're going to the numbers.
The dashboard.
We are currently sitting at a block height of 665,645. Current Bitcoin price, 35,410. The chain rewrite days, 572. Total lightning capacity, 1,041.62 BTC. And the Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 5.48%. All right.
Man, look, I'm not going to complain. I'm kind of happy the price dipped a little bit because I needed to buy some on the cheap. I needed that discount.
So
if you didn't stack the dip, you're not a Bitcoiner, Phil. I'm just kidding. Phil, it's time for
the daily fail. So today's daily fail is brought to us by The Economist. So I always love this about bull markets, right? Because all of a sudden in bull markets, everybody's an expert on Bitcoin, right? There's all these experts. They know how to fix it. They know how to make it better. Here's what The Economist had to say. Bitcoin is too inefficient to be of much use for making payments. By contrast, the firms upending consumer finance like Alipay minimize friction. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. This is okay. You know what? On one end, it could be a paid shill piece, right? For Alipay or whatever. Could very well be that. But this is the problem, right? Number one, they understand that nobody understands money. Okay. Number two, nobody has ever thought about transaction finality until Bitcoin in more of the general public. Okay, the general public doesn't think about transaction finality, and the reality is that when you are doing transactions all over the place, none of those transactions are final, and Bitcoin aims to be a base layer. Okay, final settlement layer. So everything gets built on top of it. That's why Lightning's being built on top of it. And that's why eventually there will be layer 3 technologies that get built on top of that, and so on. So this ridiculous narrative that they pull out, that it's inefficient. I'm really sorry, but this system's been running strong for 12 years and doesn't have a corporation behind it. So they can go frickin' pound sand.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Phil, and I want to I agree with all your points. I think you covered it really. I kind of want to hit it from a different angle. Sure. I think that what you're seeing from a lot of the mainstream news outlets, I suspect they're kind of heading towards their eventual demise, and it's very close. So the quality of their reporting has just taken a nosedive in the last decade. Mm-hmm. Right. So the quality, the pieces that these people put out are more so for clickbait rather than actual journalism, and you could blame that on the internet and the fact that Twitter kind of gives everybody a voice. You could blame that on YouTube, how YouTube lets everybody kind of become a broadcaster like we're doing ourselves. So, it's just garbage. Anything that at this point, like anything that comes out of mainstream relating to Bitcoin is just, it's a heaping pile of garbage, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree.
Phil, it's time for
the daily meme review.
All right, everybody, our meme for today, it's not really a typical meme where they kind of edit the video, but it's a meme because he put something as in, I didn't know Mythbusters tested Ethereum, and let's check it out.
2, 1, go! They're off to a bumpy start. Right out. But as Jamie accelerates, the ride seems to get smoother. At least until it suddenly stops altogether.
Dude, okay. Man, it's what you said. It's not about how much work you put it into it. It's literally if it's funny or not. Phil, that's a solid beat. I'm going to give that an 8. What about you?
Oh, wow, yeah. Yep, I'm going to be going right on with you. Same thing.
8.
Yep.
It's a funny ass beat.
Dude, solid 8.
Perfectly describes Ethereum.
Yeah, that is hilarious. Oh, look, the ride seems to get smoother, and then it just stops completely.
It's working. But
that's about accurate.
I don't think you could. I think that if you looked up a definition of Ethereum in the dictionary, that video would pop up. Like that's what
Oh
it
my
would
God.
be.
That was great.
It was perfect. It was perfect. Phil, it's time for it.
The Daily News, sponsored by Crypto Cloaks.
All right, everybody, we got some news for today. Man, shout out to Hal, legend. And it was Hal Finney Day yesterday.
Yep.
On Sunday, we didn't make a video, so we're kind of covering it today. And of course, this is the day, January 10th, 2009, that Hal officially said he's running Bitcoin. And, at this moment in time, Hal was actually directly speaking with Satoshi. So this tweet is history, man. And we got some, of course, the Bitcoiners are just, paying their respects in different ways, right? It's pretty awesome. So the next piece of news is brought to us by John Paul Quing. He's keeping up on the FinCEN. Remember, guys, the FinCEN was those rules proposed by the Treasury, kind of enforcing that $10,000 reporting and that $3,000 reporting as well. And it just kind of puts it kind of applies an unnecessary regulation on top of Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency industry as a whole. We don't care about that. We care about Bitcoin, but the regulation was about cryptocurrency in general. So check this out. Going back to 2008, FinCEN has received 11,183 submissions from the public in response to various proposals and notices. It has received 7,477 comments, or 67% of all public responses in just the last 3 weeks. How crazy is that? So out of 11,000, 7,477 came just as a response to the proposed regulation that these guys want to apply on Bitcoin. And I just want to give a shout out to everybody on the Bitcoin army, because if it wasn't for you guys, they wouldn't get so many, I guess, complaints or whatever, kind of disagreeing with it. I know that all the major exchanges said their word, man. So this is a tremendous amount of pressure, and it wouldn't be possible without all you guys, the Bitcoin army on Twitter, just, with the memes and just telling the truth to everybody, right? So Phil, what are your thoughts on all this?
So I think what's really significant is that that all came in the last 3 weeks. I mean, think about that. 67% of those comments came in the last 3 weeks during, obviously a pretty massive pump, right, in Bitcoin. So, people, I mean, look, obviously it's bullish, right? People care, and people value the Bitcoin system, and they value what the Bitcoin system brings to them and what they can contribute to Bitcoin. So yeah, people are going to care, and this is going to get ugly, and there's going to be more, like we're going to see what comes of this.
Absolutely. And this is just the beginning, right? We're entering in and then they fight you stage. So stay tuned on Simply Bitcoin.
We're there now. It's just the beginning.
It's just the beginning. We are the vanguard. We always cover the news here first, or we tend to. Maybe not every time, but we tend to get it first. Anyways, kind of, a follow up to Sunday or Saturday. You guys saw the video on Sunday. Sunday's news, right? This is exactly what we've been telling you, right? The Twitter ban was just an escalation. They were going to move on to next things. I know what you guys are thinking. What does Airbnb have to do with Bitcoin? Bear with me. I'll get to that in a second. So, the tweet's very self-explanatory. Airbnb to ban guests associated with hate groups, right? Next one. Update. Citibank says it will not support candidates who do not respect the rule of law, and will pause contributions to the GOP members who objected. So we've been telling you they were going to do this because it's the inevitable progression of censoring speech. This is what it leads to. When you're paying someone, that's a form of speech, right? So when the other side does not agree with you, and we just want to clarify on Simply Bitcoin, we're bipartisan. We do not lean left. We do not lean right. We lean Bitcoin, right? We support Bitcoin. Bitcoin's our political party, and that's what we're giving the angle from, right? But it's a very dangerous precedent when you censor free speech, because this is what inevitably happens. Citibank just announced that they are going to censor the parties that they do not agree with, right? So it's very dangerous precedent. But on the bright side, that was an amazing advertisement for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin cannot be censored. So shout out to Citibank. You're doing a great job. You're speeding up your inevitable demise. Very happy with that news. Some comic relief in there. Phil, what are your thoughts on this?
Our haters are our biggest allies. They're our biggest cheerleaders. So look, again, we always mention that we are for Bitcoin, right? That's an apolitical show. We don't really care about politics. What we care about here is the censorship, right? And to be perfectly honest, this type of stuff really scares me, because let's say we don't know what will be considered a crime in the future. Okay, we don't know what type of laws will come up in the future. And let's say you end up in the type of situation where, you end up on the wrong side of that law, and you have a family to feed and everything, and the banks go and freeze your accounts. This happens already today to people, right? And it becomes very difficult to live. And don't get me wrong, regardless of that crime, to take away somebody's ability to survive and to feed themselves. So now they're going to have to go out and possibly commit other crimes in order to, it doesn't make any sense. And I just don't think that censorship of money makes any sense. I think that that's very dangerous. And I believe that, we should be absolutely able to, if we earned that money, we should be able to hang on to it. And an institution shouldn't be able to stop us from getting to what we've earned.
Absolutely.
Period.
I completely agree, Phil. And I think it was, I forget who the quote was, but it was, I won't like what you say, but I'll die protecting your right to say it, because freedom of speech is so important, because it just allows discourse, right? Without freedom of speech, there tends to come violence, right? It tends to kind of boil up. And I also want to report that Stripe was also another company that reported that they will stop any payment processing for anybody, for anything related to Trump and his campaign. Is an extremely dangerous time. And, from us at Simply Bitcoin, we're very grateful Bitcoin is around. It's definitely a shining light of hope. And Phil, on a lighter note, there was a pretty awesome software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. All right, so it looks like today we've got Mempool version 2.0.0, and the link to that is down below in the show notes.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate that. Man, I love these software releases. It's not going to lie, it's kind of my favorite part of the show, because it's like opening those Easter eggs. You don't know what's inside. Anyway, I'm getting carried away. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Simply Bitcoin. If you guys like the episode, you know what to do. Smash that like button. If you guys love the episode, subscribe. And of course, we will see you on the next one.